Our girl is back! Touka! Oh my gosh, this chapter! Oh, Tokyo Guru, Tokyo motherfucking Ghoul! This chapter, that ending, just all it took was one motherfucking drawing, one panel, one page, and I'm fucking going insane because it's been so long, it's been so long, oh my gosh. Let me put the fanboy down for a second and let's jump into this review. So we start off the chapter, that dude Shimoguchi that got his fucking ass kicked. You can definitely see he is scarred for motherfucking life because they put a motherfucking hurt on him, and that's definitely leading up to Torso joining with Aogiri Tree, because as you can see later on in the chapter, he's ultimately like scared as hell what to do because his face has been seen. But ultimately Shimoguchi, he might have some info that's going to tie into later. So even though he's kind of not that relevant right now, I can definitely see later on him being a bigger role ultimately and giving, you know, some special information or something, because like they did him dirty, so I'm sure he must have seen something. And then you could definitely see that Ayato, even though it's like when he came in, he showed up, he was Black Rabbit, you know, he had a black mask. Ultimately I think they're just combining everything between what Touka did and then Ayato has done and continues to do into one. I think that they genuinely think that there's only one rabbit and they're putting it all together, because when Akita was breaking it down to Sasaki, she was like, you know, this person killed my father, he assassinated people in the 20th Ward, and she had no idea at the time because she wasn't with their particular force when that whole shit went down, so she thinks it's the same one dude. So eventually I could honestly see in the long run, maybe her meeting up with Touka being on the same side or something, and ultimately, yeah, if she finds out that that's the one that actually did her father in, oh my gosh. But just that build up right there and kind of getting a little more into Ayato, because we know that he cares for her sister, we found that out. So ultimately I think that he's doing this purposely as well, like keeping it, he went into this rabbit thing and everything to protect his sister so that ultimately she can lead a normal life, what she wanted, because he loves his sister. And I will say, with us finding out Torso's identity, Sayaki, whatever the hell his name is, ultimately it kind of makes me think, why the hell was he shouted out in the beginning? I guess just to add extra mystique or mystery or whatever. But yeah, he just looks like a fucking scaredy cat, like he's doing a bunch of fucked up things to these people, these women in particular. But then when we see him here, he's like, oh, I'm scared, and you know, he's scared about Aogiri Tree, and he's like petrified. So basically Torso turned out to be just some fucking loser, nut job, fucking scaredy cat. And now within the eyes of the law and everybody a part of the investigation, he's basically has no other choice but to go with Aogiri Tree. It's either try to run, and then ultimately if they get him, they're gonna fuck him up, or join up and, you know, just be with Aogiri Tree, which I would never want to be with them. After what I've seen with Jason and all the motherfuckers on top, no! He must know their reputation. And one thing you definitely notice, and I'm glad that all that development from part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul, you know, the original Tokyo Ghoul manga, amounted to something, because you could definitely see that Akita is still hurting inside over what happened to Amon. When she was talking about you hurt when you lose the ones that you spend the most time with, I think not only was she referring to her father, and I think she was just putting it out there so that no, you know, they wouldn't realize ultimately, or Sasuke wouldn't realize who she was really talking about. I think she was talking about Amon, and it'll probably be a while until we ultimately find out what is with Amon. You know, is he, you know, 100% Ghoul, because more than likely Kano is using him as an experiment big time, so it'll be a while until we ultimately see him. But that's just sliding that in there, that she's definitely going to have some complications when she ultimately has to face him later on down the road. A bit dialogue heavy, finding out more about the Quinkes, the surgery. It's different from Kano's, because with Kano it was basically like it's all in there and ultimately you just like lose control. The one that they're using is kind of like a little bit more condensed. There's like a barrier around it, a steel barrier around it, and there's basically like 5 levels and they keep them on level 2. So the difference between what Kano ultimately did, where they just went flat out half ghoul, half human, is that this is like condensing it. And where Uri's going with this, I can totally see at some given point, possibly Uri going full Ghoul, because Uri is so desperate for more power. He's desperate to get on Sasuke's level. You will never be there, bro. You are fucking crusty compared to Sasuke. Just putting that out there. But with his desperation and him wanting to crank up the power and everything, I could honestly see him eventually going to the point where there's no return. He's going to possibly be half Ghoul, and maybe he might get that power, and even then still Sasuke or Kaneki is going to fuck his shit up. Although there is a bit of depth to him. Like for starters, that Kuroiwa guy, he's bitter at him because of what his father ultimately did, basically letting his father die. And you can see one of the main things about Uri is that he's bitter. He's bitter he lost his father. He's bitter nobody helped him out. And ultimately that's why he wants to get to the top, to make sure nothing like that ever happens again to him. That is an ultimate injustice. So definitely that's what's driving his character. He's just coming across as a straight fucking asshole pile of shit while doing so. And I'm wondering exactly why is it that Ayato is asking Torso about Sasaki. I mean, obviously it's because he knows or suspects that he's Kaneki, but what does he want with Kaneki? Is it to return the favor? Like, you know, them bones, bro, them bones. Was it because of that, or was it something else? What is it? Why would he even want to see Kaneki? Why is he interested? Is it because he wants to bring him back to Aogiri Tree? Is Kano looking for him desperately? What's up? Because I honestly wouldn't be surprised if at this particular point Kano thinks that Kaneki is dead and Sasaki is kind of like a hiding spot, and a lot of people don't know that Sasaki or Kaneki is still alive, walking around as Sasaki hides. And then, I ain't gonna lie, me personally, as a fan, 2 moments in this chapter, 2 characters coming back, got me motherfucking hype. Of course, the ending, which I referenced in the beginning, but Suzuya Juzo, like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, holy motherfucking shit. Now, one of the things, because it was kind of connected in this chapter, and it was coincidental that it led from one thing to another, with this whole Nutcracker female. While they dressed her up and everything, I don't know if that was exactly her, or it is maybe, and it's been a while, but this is my theory that I thought of while reading this chapter. What if Nutcracker is the same or somebody connected to the bitch? Because I can't remember if she actually died or not, so forgive me if I'm wrong on this. But the woman that enslaved Juzo and did what she did to Juzo, we do not speak about what happened to Juzo. We do not mention it. Did not happen as far as talking about it. But if that could be her, either A, that was just like an example of what she's ultimately doing, or B, she lost a fuckload of weight, or C, is somebody very close to her, because that kind of seems similar, and it just kind of freaked me out a little bit how it went from that scene to the Juzo scene, because you know about Juzo, or you don't. And I mean, it's clear as fucking day, of course, Juzo knows who he ultimately is, because he gave him back the money. If you remember back then, when he stole Kaneki's wallet, he gave it back to him. Ultimately, Sasuke's like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like, why don't you put 2 and 2 together, bro? When weird things that you can't explain happen, you should put 2 and 2 together. Remember, you had a previous life, mate. And I can't wait to see how Juzo's walking around. I'd imagine he has some sort of prosthetic leg, maybe a quinque leg, maybe his new leg is a quinque itself. I don't fucking know, but I'm hyped to see more of that Juzo, bro. And then last but not least, the title now is starting to make a little bit more sense. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the mangaka Soooo Ishida could ultimately name part 1 of the manga something. He probably would have named it Tokyo Ghoul and Teiku, because now this is called Tokyo Ghoul Re, and ultimately the coffee shop, which Yomo and Touka, but the coffee shop is called Re as well. So I remember him putting an importance on Anteiku as well, and kind of Touka asking the meaning of Anteiku. So this coffee shop is going to be the new basis ultimately for the new operation, hopefully anyway, seemingly that way. But for starters, Yomo looking white as a ghost, looking like, what the fuck, when he saw Sasaki Highs walk through that door. Because, come on, they spent too much time with him to not realize who the fuck that is. They know who it is. Let's cut the chitter-chatter. We know who the fuck that is. So when he did that, and then Touka came out, we didn't get Touka's reaction to seeing him. She just basically came out the door and said, hey, you're supposed to greet our customers right. So either B, she hasn't actually looked at him yet, she's just looking at Yomo when that panel happens, or she doesn't recognize him, which I highly, highly doubt. Touka loves this man too much, or this guy too much, to ultimately not recognize him. And I feel bad for her, because, first of all, looking beautiful, looking motherfucking beautiful, but she put up with so much shit with Kaneki, you know, disappearing on her years, comes back and the motherfucker don't even remember her. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? Love this chapter. It wasn't the most amazing chapter. For the most part, there was some characters coming back and a little bit of small progression here or there, getting a little more info and everything, but I personally, as far as enjoyment goes, if it was just enjoyment alone, this would get like a 10 or 11 out of 10. Being realistic, probably in the realms of like an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. Very good stuff still. Yet again, Tokyo Ghoul Re. I want to give it a 9. I don't know. Should I give it the 9? I don't fucking know. It's too hard sometimes when my fandom kicks in to be, you know, realistic, but just a fucking amazing chapter. I absolutely loved it. What do you guys think, though? What is Touka gonna say? Is she gonna play it cool? Is she gonna act like she don't remember him? Yomo certainly remembers him. And ultimately, what do you think about the whole thing with Juzo and everything else with this chapter? Fucking a lot to go through with this one, but it was worth the wait. But that's all I have for this review / reaction. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.